All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over the MySQL by example for beginners. And we're in Chapter 3, and we just saw this database diagram. Okay, and this database diagram, this is an example of a database diagram, and it indicates a one-to-many relationship. Now, some of the stuff that's in here should make sense to you. In other words, here's all your field names. Here's all your field names. Here are all of your constraints. This says this is a primary key for this table. This is a foreign key for this table. And this is the primary key for this table. It has the name of each field, the type of each field, and where it's applicable. And in here it's all of those, the size of each field. Where it's got a key by it, all right, where it has a key by it, it means basically that that's the primary key. Where it's got a blue diamond by it, means those are field names. And where there's a red diamond by it, it means it's a field name, but it's a foreign key. Now, this is the one of the more important things here. Notice here there's just a line, and here this is actually called a crow's foot, because it's like three different prongs, for lack of better words. This is showing a one-to-many relationship. The one side is where you've got the line here. The many side is where you've got the crow's feet. What that means is every one supplier can supply 0, 1, or more products. So that is a one-to-many relationship. Now, you can have three different kinds of relationships here. The first one is a one-to-many relationship. The second one you can have is what's called a many-to-many relationship. So it says, suppose that one product has many suppliers, and a supplier supplies many products. Then you have a many-to-many relationship. Now, that doesn't work right because relational database management systems like MySQL, like Oracle, like SQL Server, like a bunch of other ones, do not handle many-to-many relationships correctly. They're not built to support them. So to resolve that, what you do is you create a new table, and that new table is a combination of, all right, it's called a join table or a junction table. You take the primary key out of the other two tables, which is product ID and supplier ID, all right? You take those out and you make a new table out of it with a combined or a concatenated primary key of both fields, okay? Then we would be able to, if we needed to, so now notice in here, by doing it this way, this table is exactly the same as it was. This one has changed. We have removed the supplier ID from this table. All right? Now, should you do this? You can do this. I'm not saying you should do it or you shouldn't do it. All right? But let's run through their examples to show that indeed, if you wanted to do it, you could do it. So I'm going to create the new product suppliers table first. All right, so now when I show tables, notice I've got products, product suppliers, and suppliers. All right, and if I do a show or a describe on my tables, it should look just like this. And there it is. All right. Now I want to insert this stuff in there. So again, this is a combination of what we were talking about. So now if I select star from products suppliers, you notice what we have in there. So it says product 2001 is supplied by both supplier 501 and 503. Product 2002 is supplied by supplier 501. Product 2003 is supplied by supplier 2001. And product 2004 is supplied by supplier 502. Same thing they showed here. Now we can remove the supplier ID column from here. All right, so what they're asking you to do is first run the show create table command. And this is all the stuff that happened. So we came through here, those were our field names. We added a primary key. We said the name must be unique. All right, we added here the constraint, which added the foreign key. Okay, so it showed you everything that we did here. Now we can drop that foreign key from the products table. All right, so now that foreign key is gone. Now we can alter the products table and drop the supplier ID. So again, right now, notice if I type into here, describe products, we have supplier ID. But if we alter this to drop it and we describe products again, now the supplier ID is gone. All right. So now what we can do is we can do a different type of select where we're joining on 3 tables instead of on 2 tables. All right. Why is this important? Well, what the author is showing you here is if you did not want to take the primary key from one table and add it as a foreign key into the other table, you didn't have to. We could have instead created a third table whose combined or concatenated primary key was a combination of the primary key of the first table combined with the primary key of the second table. All right, and that's exactly what was done right here. The example is actually very well done. And again, the author says you can come in here and you can write, you can use aliases as we did before, and it works just fine. All right. So what we want is we want to see whoever the supplier is for Pencil 3B. And you notice that Pencil 3B is supplied both by ABC Traders and by QQ Corp. All right. We can say what we want here is the pencils 3B, 4B, and 5B and who supplies those. And I forgot the semicolon. Okay. All right. Now notice how different the database diagram looks in this example, because in this particular example, we have 3 tables instead of 2. And notice that the relationship, there is no direct relationship now between product and suppliers as we had before. There is no direct relationship. Rather, what we have here is an indirect relationship. So there is a relationship between products and product suppliers and between supplier and product suppliers. So if I want information from the 2 tables now, since there is no field in common between them, I need to use this third table. That's exactly what the author is saying. It's actually a very well done example. All right. It says, suppose some products have optional data. For example, a photo of the product or a comment describing the product, etc. So the author says, instead of keeping this optional data in the products table, we can create another table called product details and link to the products table. All right, so this is the new table right here. But the point is, every one product should have one product details. So notice there's no crow's feet. There was crow's feet here. There were crow's feet here, and there were crow's feet here, showing the one-to-many and the one and the many-to-many. But there is not one here because this is a one-to-one relationship. Since it is a one-to-one relationship, there is no many side, so to speak. So we're creating the brand new table here. So now if we show our tables, now we have a product details table also. And if we describe that product details table, oops, didn't work very well. This on your screen looks exactly the same as what you see right here. All right, I'm not going to run the show create table because you'd see it. It's no big thing. All right, so the author says, before we conclude this example, let's check our time. We're doing great. All right, before we conclude this example, let's run the MySQL dump utility program to back up the entire Southwind database. All right, so I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to stick it on my D drive. Instead, I'm going to find out on my machine, the desktop. In fact, let's grab something on the desktop here. So I'll grab right here. And now it's showing me that this is my desktop right here. All right, so I'm going to grab that and just throw that for now. Just throw it right here, just so I have that. All right, now I'm going to grab this. And what did we want to call this? Backup. Well, let's just grab it from right here. All right, so that should be the entire command, if I didn't type in anything incorrectly. So we'll find out in just a second. It says we have an error in our syntax. MySQL dump -u root and -p. Is there a minus databases in there? Well, I'm not sure where the problem was, but I'm going to try to figure it out. First thing is, let's put -u root like this. And let's put -p, minus databases like this. Greater than C:\users, boom, boom. That actually looks correct. Not saying that it is correct, but it looks correct. Still doesn't like it though. All right, so when that happens, it's a teaching moment. So I go over here and I type in MySQL dump syntax. And sooner or later, it's going to push me off to the reference manual. I knew that. So let's see how they show it in the reference manual, or if they show it somewhere in the reference manual. MySQL dump options, etc. Okay. They talk about the options, but I just want to see an example. Wow, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. How about this? Instead of MySQL dump syntax, let's have MySQL dump example. All right, and this is again from the manual. All right, I'm grabbing their example right from the reference manual. And I'm just going to say the minus databases. We want to put in the name of our database, which is Southwind. Oops. And for our dump, we'll still call it this. And we'll put it there. So let's see if that works. And if it does, we'll come back and take a look at the command. Still says we have an error. Problem is, when we have only one line like this in a command, it's telling me the error could be any place. So MySQL dump minus databases Southwind, and we're giving it a name. MySQL database to file. Again, I'm looking for something that I can use from the command line, so that's what I'm looking for. minus minus databases, the database name, greater than, and then the file name. The only thing that's different from what they have as opposed to what I have is they don't have double quotes around that. So let's see if that happens. If that fixes it by any chance. So bring that back up. Oh, and I still had a single quote in there. Ugh. All right, when this happens and you get stuck like this, sometimes you can get out by just hitting the semicolon. Sometimes you have to literally get out of the package, so I'm lucky I didn't have to get out. Unknown command, \u. Okay, so it needs that, returning to the default prompt. Huh. So it doesn't like, no matter how I'm doing it here. I did the MySQL dump space database name, and I believe that was correct. MySQL dump space, here they have just the database name. All right, so maybe I just don't need the minus, maybe because there's only one database. Maybe that's what it was. Let's try that. Still doesn't like it. MySQL dump, Southwind, greater than, etc., etc. So MySQL database name greater than. So let's try it one more time without the double quotes, and I don't think this is going to work. And it doesn't. It gets tripped up right here. So it does need the double quotes. You could try it single quotes, but I don't know where that would help any. But we'll try it anyway. So single quote there, and a single quote there. Still says, we'll try it one more time with the grave accents. Grave accent here, and grave accent here. Well, I'm having a lot of luck. Unfortunately, all of it is bad. Tried that, it didn't like that. And I'm not sure exactly here what the problem is. How to export and import dumping data with MySQL dump. Let's take a look, because this is in the actual thing itself. So to dump all databases, to dump only specific databases. That's exactly the syntax that I used. So I'm not sure exactly what the problem is here. Again, we changed that to Southwind. All right. Let's try and not put a path in there. I'm not sure where it's going to place it then, but we'll try it just to see if we get an error or not. Still get an error. Still get an error. How about this? How to back up a single MySQL database from the command line using MySQL dump. Creating and restoring backups with MySQL dump. See if this is any different from what we just looked at. This will create a dump named all databases. So let's try this example. Copy. It's been a while since I've done this. Nope, not an excuse, just the truth. User equal root minus password. There isn't any. So let's see if that example works. Semicolon. Still says we have an error. So there must be some way to back this up that I'm not finding, all right now. And I'd love to be able to tell you what it is. They're dumping it here, and they're creating all databases. And I'm not sure exactly what the problem is. I will try to investigate it. How to back up and restore. I mean, there's a lot. I can just keep digging through these, but you're watching me sit here and make mistake after mistake. So to back up a database with username, root, and no password. Minus u root minus p southwind. Still it's giving me an error. So there's something about this that it does not like. Starting in 5.3, it's been extended. It's supporting new, whatever. I just want an example, and ideally an example that will work. MySQL minus E. MySQL dump, database name, and then give it, that's what I tried doing. Database name was Southwind into this. We're getting error after error, as you can see. It says that it has some kind of a problem with the syntax. I'm going to stop here and try to investigate the error. And when I come back again, see if I can give you an answer.